What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to predict the review scores for the Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut / I guess, the Icky Island DLC. See, what's tough about doing these predictions, and I love doing predictions, I love review scores in general, even though I try to not base my, decisions of things based off the reviews. What's difficult about this one is I really want to talk about that, the Icky Island expansion, but what's going to end up happening, I think at least, is the review scores are going to literally be the entire thing. So it's going to be the director's cut, the PS5 version, which would take into account the audio and the DualSense and the loading and, things like that. That's going to be a big part of it, as well as the Icky Island. They can't judge it off of the new stuff of Legends, right? Because that doesn't come out at the same time that the director's cut does. Remember, the director's cut is August 20th, but then the DLC, or the additions, I should say, to the Legends multiplayer, I believe is September 3rd, right? So a few weeks away. So okay, well, it is a little bit difficult, but what I will say is this. I feel like, and this is maybe a knock to journalists, maybe this is a knock to next gen. So see, I can hit all sides, right? I'm not really biased. I do feel like the next gen polish has certainly helped games in terms of review scores over the last year, okay? I'm not disagreeing necessarily with review scores that have happened for some of these games because I think some of them are fantastic. Astro's Playroom is like the best game you could ever play with the DualSense. It is literally incredible. Returnal is really good. Ratchet and Clank is really good. These are games, even like Miles Morales, I do think was probably elevated a little bit with the PS5. Now, technically, it was also on PS4, so that's hard to, hard to prove, right? But I do think, in general, the next-gen, glaze or gloss has definitely helped review scores. So, in terms of Ghost of Tsushima, can it beat basically the original score and get, a little bit higher? I think it will. I'm going to say early on, I'll give you my prediction. I'll say they'll probably give the director's cut in all. I'll even give a specific number. I'll say 88. I feel like 88 to 90 is somewhere where I kind of want to land. And I feel like it's a couple different things. Number one, I feel like age has helped this game immensely. I feel like there was a lot of love of this game, including for myself. It was my second favorite game from last year by a lot. Like, there was the number one game, small gap, Ghost of Tsushima, big gap, the rest of them. Okay, that's how I kind of rationalize it to myself. But I do think, with The Last of Us and the divisiveness, of that, whether you love it or hate it, we're not talking about it here. But, that game came out less than a month before, around a month, I should say, before Ghost of Tsushima. So that was still in everybody's head. Sucker Punch wasn't looked up to as highly as not. I think now, Sucker Punch is one of my favorite developers, on the planet right now, right? But Ghost of Tsushima, I feel like, again, like time has probably helped it because it had a lot of other stuff going on around it, and it had a lot of love. But I just feel like, I don't know, over time, people have continued to love. It really has, like a different, like a Days Gone kind of feel. Like Days Gone is honestly a little bit different than how I feel about Ghost of Tsushima over time, or how I've seen other people react to it over time. But it's a close enough comparison. Okay, so I think that's gonna help, right? The age, I really do think, has helped this game out quite a bit. Second thing is those enhancements. It really, it depends on how it's done, right? But I would even say, Miles was one of the first like 3 games I played on the PS5. Okay, and I could never imagine playing it on PS4. And to be honest with you, there's not even that many differences between PS4 and PS5. You know what I mean? Like a game like Ratchet and Clank or Returnal, those games, or even like Demon's Souls, like those games were made from the ground up for, PS5, and you can tell, and you truly, or even Astro's Playroom, and you could truly never play that game on the PS4, at least in my opinion. For Miles, you could, and you literally, many people did, right? But in my opinion, playing it on the PS5, even with it just being minor things like the web swinging, was massive. And that gives it, I would say, a couple extra like points in my head just from that alone. So I do, and maybe that's my biasness too, right? I don't know. So I feel like that's going to come into play with Ghost of Tsushima as well. The audio, even though I'll be honest, I haven't used the 3D sound, I haven't experienced that yet. Maybe one day I will, and I hope to. But the DualSense, I'm sure, is going to really help. The load times, to be honest, I think it's the fastest open world game in terms of loading I've ever seen. Really. So I don't know how much more you could do on the PS5, but I'm sure they've done it. And then the actual expansion, that's the, I guess if the expansion is god awful, then that'll probably hurt the scores. But I think at the very least, I don't know, I feel it. Maybe you guys feel it too. I just feel like it's at least going to be great. I wouldn't even say good. I think it's going to at least be great because you're going to be doing similar things that we've already done, but like it's a new story. There's new things to do. You're going back into a world that is kind of universally loved for the most part, right? I'm sure there's people that don't like it, and that's okay. I'm not saying you have to like this game, but I think, universally the game is pretty much praised. You're going back into it to do more, and maybe, and obviously a little bit of different stuff, right? How can that really hurt it? You know what I mean? In my opinion, how can that really hurt it? So I don't know how it drops, like how it gets into like the low 80s or like the high 70s. I just don't see that being a possibility. I really think it only can go up. And I think Legends, obviously, but that's another thing. Like Legends, you don't need to do the director's cut for Legends, updates. So that's something that's kind of completely separate. Really, this director's cut or this review stuff that we're gonna probably see over the next couple days is literally the enhancements made for PS5 or slash PS4, technically, right? Everything put in, and then the expansion. And I think that's enough to really, really help this game. So I'm looking forward to it. Again, I do say this honestly, and I know maybe some people don't believe me. They can get over themselves. But I do not go based off of review scores. I would say maybe if they're super high or super low, that does make its way into my head. But for pretty much everything I've ever talked about, I've made the decision to buy it or not buy it or watch it if it's like a movie or not watch it. I've made that decision before review scores, and the review scores do not stop me. Okay, they really don't. They maybe like Balan Wonderworld, but I actually played the demo for that game. So long story short, I want to make it clear. Like, I like talking about scores. Of course, I'm going to look at scores, but I don't make my buying decision based off of them at all. I've already decided to get Ghost of Tsushima. I don't care what score it gets, right? So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on so you know all these videos go up. If you guys want to follow us on Twitter or subscribe to my second channel or support us on Patreon or YouTube memberships, all of those links are in the description below for you guys to check out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.